akong task is to report what is the post-war interventions toward agrarian reform. So kani siya nga ang i-report kay kabahay ni siya sa agrarian reform nga nag-agi sa mga upat ka presidente. Si President Manuel Rojas ang administration, si President Elpidio Quirino administration, President Pagsaysay administration, and President Diosdado Macapagal administration. So diri makita nato kung giun sa nila pag-evolve or pag-upgrade sa agrarian forms since pagsugod. So magsugod ta ni unsay nabuhat ni President Manuel Rojas sa iyang administrasyon. So rehabilitation and rebuilding after war were focused in providing solution to the problem of the past. So ang nabuhat ni President Manuel Rojas is nagpasa siya og law nga Republic Act number 34. So kaning nga law kay mo establish ni siya sa 70 to 30% sharing arrangement between tenant and landlord respectively, which reduced the interest of landowners loans to tenants at 6% or less. The government also attempted to distribute hacienda lands, falling prey to the woes of similar attempts since no support was given to small farmers who are given land. So kani siya nga Republic Act kay ang yuta gibahin siya sa 70 to 30% of sharing. Ang 70 is for landlord, ang 30 for sa mga tenant or kanang nagaabang. So kaning panahon na ang gobyerno natin sila og redistribute, so gibalik nila og redistribute ang hacienda lands. So sa una ang ilang gobyerno kay wala man sila suporta sa gagmay nga farmer, so ang nidagan ani nila katong mga dato katong panalitan sa hacienda sa mga negros. So ag konra ato katurang mga dato moy dagko og bahin sa yuta. So sunod guys si President Elpidio Quirino tapos siyang administrasyon. So under the term of President Elpidio Quirino nag-establish siya og Land Settlement Development Corporation or LASIDECO. Kani nga establishing kay mo to accelerate and expand the resettlement programs for peasants. So kani nga ni President Elpidio nga establish niya para ma-expand ang resettlement sa para mas madali agatong mga small farmers mas dali siya makasettle sa ilang yuta. Then ang kaning LASIDECO na nausab ni siya later, this agency later on became the National Resettlement and Rehabilitation Administration or NARA under sa administration ni siya ni Magsaysay.
On September 1971, President Ferdinand Marcos signed the Code of Agrarian Reform of the Philippines. But in 1978, it was renamed by DAR into the Ministry of Agrarian Reform. Marcos' land reform program succeeded in breaking down many of the large haciendas in Central Luzon, and thus were landed elite, and Marcos' allies were not as numerous in the other part of the country. In the country as whole, the program generally considered as failure because only 20% of rice land and 20% corn land was covered in the program. In 1985, 13 years after, Marcos' proclamation is 75% of the exceeded beneficiaries had not become owner cultivators. By 1988, less than 6% of all agricultural households received a land transfer, that indicating that the land they cultivating had registered as land transfer holding. About half of the group received titles. Political commitment on the part of the government waned after succeeding the undermining the strength of land elites. Even efforts were made, implementation was selective, mismanaged, and subject to considered graft and corruption.
My topic is all about post-1986 agrarian reform. The last administration of Marcos reform was the way of why President Aquino's centerpiece of her administration was all about the agrarian reform, which resulted on the Lands of Republic Act number 6657, or called the CAR, that introduced the CARP. CARP was all about the distribution of land to the tenant farmers. Those corporate landowners were suggested to divest even the small percentage of their everything to their beneficiaries instead of turning them to the government. A limitation factor makes the CARP under the administration of Aquino be limited. Under Ramos' administration, the CARP was vastly extended to meet the expected target despite of time, money, cost, and other sector problem pushing through the program. To solve and to reach the target of the CARP, the program was extended to another 10 years. In addition, the purpose of agrarian reform is to provide the land production. That's all.
CARPer and the future of agrarian reform in the Philippines. The new deadline of CARP expired in 2008, leaving 1.2 million farmer beneficiaries and 1.6 million hectares of agricultural land to be distributed to farmers. In 2009, President Arroyo signed Republic Act No. 9700, or the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program Extension, with reforms, the CARPer, the mandatory law that extended the deadline to 5 more years. Section 30 of the law also mandates that any case proceeding involving the implementation of the provisions of CARP as amended, which may remain pending on June 30, 2014, shall be allowed to proceed to its finality and executed even beyond such date. From 2009 to 2014, CARPer has distributed a total of 1 million hectares of land to 900,000 farmer beneficiaries. After 27 years of land reform and 2 Aquino administrations, 500,000 hectares of lands remain undistributed. The DAR and the Department of Environment and Natural Resources are the government agencies mandated to fulfill CARP and CARPer, but even the combined effort of the 2 agencies have proved incapable of fully achieving the goal of the agrarian reform in the Philippines. The same problems has plagued its implementation, the government. Until these 2 challenges are surmounted, genuine agrarian reform in the Philippines remains but a dream to Filipino farmers who have been fighting for the right to land ownership for Philippines. So, what can we do as a mere student? Well, support the fight of the farmers, the injustice, for there's no development and improvement for them. Support the products that they're introducing and don't belittle them, because we can see that we do have agrarian reform, but change is not visible for our co-Filipinos, for it is only for private landowners. Be a righteous fighter and not a belittled follower.